Hello friends. In this session, we will talk about the reading number 90, Finding Bernie Madoff, Detecting Fraud by the Investment Managers. This is a new introduction in 2021 in your FRM Part 2's investment risk curriculum. And this is very easy reading. Here we have few key points which you are supposed to remember. And if you are able to remember and recall those key points in the exam, you'll be able to score in the exam. Okay. So reading is simple, but key points are there. Very interesting points are there. So you are supposed to remember those points. I will tell you specifically that these are the points. Okay. So this reading is not about the Bernie Madoff. This reading is about detecting fraud by the investment managers. But because, okay, because there is a name of Bernie Madoff in this particular title, so I will just give you the brief introduction of the Bernie Madoff and then we'll start a discussion. So if you consider the US history and if you consider the financial frauds in the US history, so the biggest fraud was this, the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme. So total fraud or the loss in the fraud was $50 billion. So they were able to recover few billions, but approximately this was a lost value. And the Bernie Madoff was running the Ponzi scheme for 20 years. This is very long time for the Ponzi scheme. Okay, so generally Ponzi schemes got unveiled or come to light or come on the radar of the regulators within 5, 6, 7 years and not this long. So what was the reason for this? Like how he was able to pull like huge funds, first of all, and how he was able to run the Ponzi scheme for 20 years, right? To understand this, I will just give you the quick overview of this Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme. And if you are very much interested in knowing the Bernie Madoff fraud or the Ponzi scheme, either I will provide video in some days. Okay, so what is the Ponzi, like Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme and so on, I will explain you about like what is the Bernie Madoff scheme and all like that. Or if you want this in the movie format, okay, if you want to watch the movie, you can watch the movie Wizard of Lies. This is available on the Hotstar only, so you can watch it there, right? So what was the scheme? So Bernie Madoff used to pull funds from the wealthy individuals and he was investing it in the penny stocks. So when the market, there was a crisis in the market, okay, financial crisis hit in 1990s and around 1990s. So he was unable to produce returns. So what he did was, like he procured new funds from the investors and returned those funds to the old investors saying these are your returns, okay? And then he generated fake trade receipts, okay, the trading statements of buy, sell, stock, option, everything, okay, everything made up. And then he used to show the investors like this is how we are doing the business and so on. And in reality, he was doing no business, not even a single trade. So this particular scam was unveiled in 2008, and when he was interviewed by the FBI, like what was the last time you traded? Okay, so what was your last trade? He said 15 years ago, meaning in approximately 1992, right? So this is how he was like working, or this is how this Ponzi scheme was running, and he was able to produce a consistent returns. So every individual wanted to give their funds to him. Okay. So this is not about only the returns. Okay. So Bernie Madoff was able to pull this particular scam or Ponzi scheme for so long for one more specific reason. He was the ex-chairman of Nasdaq, which is among the biggest stock exchange of USA or the world, right? So in 2001, there were few individuals, mathematicians, or there were fraud analysts, okay, forensic accounting analysts, and so on. Okay, so they came up with this particular information that he is in running the Ponzi scheme. This type of returns are not possible, and then reported it to the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission. But Security Exchange Commission ignored it. Okay, and the reason for ignorance was this only, like he was a very reputed person. Okay, so he was well connected. He was chairman of Nasdaq, and then other regulatory and the government committees, lot of government committees, and that's why he was able to pull this particular scam. The initial intention was not to start or run the Ponzi scheme, but it got converted into the Ponzi scheme. Okay, so this happens with the majority of the Ponzi schemes. They start with the intention of, okay, we will pull funds from the public and then we will invest in this particular high return producing assets. and then things go wrong, and then they, what happens next, right? So this was about the Bernie Madoff. Two options if you want to know more about the Bernie Madoff, or three options. Option number one, wait for some time, I will upload video on the Bernie Madoff, this particular scam. Second option, watch movie on Hotstar, amazing movie. And then third option, there is documentary on the Bernie Madoff, just watch that documentary, right? So we'll start this discussion. I will quickly give you I will give the brief overview of this particular discussion, like finding fraud by the investment managers. So in USA or across the globe, there is a culture like individuals, wealthy individuals or the normal individuals, give their funds to the investment managers and then they manage their funds, right? So this topic talks about how investor can identify or detect that investment manager or that particular firm, investment management firm, is good enough. Okay, it is not going to indulge into any fraud. Okay, so there are the parameters, and we have to just look at those parameters and understand, like, okay, this is the meaning of the parameter and what it indicates, and this is enough. So we will just quickly read it. So fraud by the companies result in the total loss for the investors in US there are, just a second, change the pen. In US there is no requirement for the investment advisor's experience and accreditation, and no laws against the investment advisor's conflict of interest. So there are three problems here. So one, there is no requirement of experience. Then second, there is no requirement of qualification or linked with some reputed certification institution like CFA and all. You don't need to be a CFA and so on. And then there is no requirement of disclosure, like conflict of interest disclosure. Okay, so these are the three problems, and hence the predicting the fraud by the investor himself becomes very important. Okay, so investor should be able to detect it. Now, how can the investor check or look for the parameters or the indicators which indicates the investment manager's fraud, ongoing or historical? So here we have something called form ADV. So every investment managers, like at least with a certain limit, okay, if they are managing funds above $25 million, then they're required to file form ADV annually, and or the material changes. Okay, the material changes like the key personnel is changing and so on. In those cases, they are supposed to file the form ADV. Form ADV covers some key important informations, and in that form, the investment management firm is supposed to fill all those details, and all those details are available in the SEC's repository. So you can check that and you can see and look for it. I look for the parameters and see like if that particular manager is going to commit any fraud. Okay, now here the important discussion is what are those parameters, and are those parameters indicative of the likelihood of fraud? Okay, and this is based on the empirical evidence. So we'll start with the what is reported and what it suggests. Okay, so this is a tabular format for you, like very easy, you can easily remember it. So first is and these are the conflicting points, so you have to specifically remember it. Okay, in a lot of cases you will feel like, oh, this indicates fraud, but as per empirical evidence, this does not indicate fraud. This particular condition does not indicate fraud. So we'll start with the first condition. The condition is conflict of interest. Ownership interest, referral fees received by manager from the companies whose securities he is recommending. Okay, so investment manager will recommend some securities for the to the investors. Okay, and he is taking referral fees. The existence of conflict of interest, mark this point. If this is there, then higher likelihood of fraud. Okay, so this is how you're supposed to remember. This is the thing, like what is reported and then what it suggests, higher likelihood of fraud. Next, soft dollar arrangements. What is soft dollar arrangement? Investment firm receives a benefit from the broker who executes the client trades, and risk is the firm might choose costly broker to receive the benefits. Okay, so investment manager will choose broker. So instead of going for the cheap or reasonably priced broker, he will go for the costly broker so that he can earn something from it. Now here, This do not predict fraud. Okay, so in exam, you are more likely to get question like this. Okay, this is the case. Does this indicate the likelihood of fraud? And then you are supposed to comment on it. The broker dealer, where the firm is associated with the broker dealer, concern is firm may not run its, just a second. Okay. The broker dealer, whether the firm is associated with the broker dealer, and concern is firm may front run its investor. Front run meaning they will, like, with the given information, they will put their trades first and then they will use their investors trade to profit from it. Again, fraud is much likely to occur. Okay, then the custodian, whether the firm serves as a custodian for client cash or security. This results in lack of third party oversight and misappropriation might occur, not the indicator of greater likelihood of. Then the registration under the Investment Companies Act, ICA 1940. Vulnerable clients are more likely to prefer registered investment firms, and hence can be easily defrauded even though the registered firms are at a greater regulatory oversight. Very, very important point. Then counterintuitive, but registration under ICA, if the firm is like properly registered, then it is a predictor of fraud from theft. Okay, then Chief Compliance Officer (CCO) is appointed. Dedicated CCO does reduce the risk of misrepresentation, but it does not reduce the risk of fraud from the theft. Remember this key point. Majority employees owned. If the majority employees are owning that particular firm, investment firm, then more risk of fraud compared to the externally owned firms due to monitoring, because external shareholders will monitor it. There is not significant evidence. Remember this. There is not significant. See, based on this particular situation, yes, it is likely to occur, but there is no significant evidence to suggest greater probability of fraud with the employee-owned fund or the firms. Then the investor size, smaller the firm's investors, more likely fraud will occur. Client who are agents, example, the pension fund managers who is client but not directly beneficiary of the funds, meaning like pension funds are holding like those funds in the behalf of like general public, employees and so on, and then those pension funds invest those funds in the, like, in stocks. So clients who are agents, if this is the case, more likely to engage in the fraud. Firms that manage hedge funds. The opaque nature of the hedge fund suggests the greater likelihood fraud, but not significant evidence to support this particular conclusion, as the opaque nature may reduce the fraud detection and understate the actual fraud. This is also very likely. Okay. Okay. So you just read this particular part, and I'll just give you the important key points here. So barriers and the cost incurred in the implementing fraud prediction methods. So obviously 100% eradication is not possible, and that's why the cost benefit analysis should be done, right? So the key point here is the benefits of identifying investments with fraud risk are limited due to short sale restrictions. Why? What is the meaning of this? Now see here, if you are the individual investor and you want to like analyze the particular firm and want to do the risk management on that particular part, like want to detect the fraud prediction or want to predict the fraud, then it is very difficult, right? So, and the advantage is if you are able to find out, okay, that firm is not going to commit fraud, fine, you are not going to lose, likelihood of loss is low. So meaning of this is the short sale restriction. This particular point's meaning is that in case of, say, a particular individual is able to identify, okay, there is fraud going on or there is higher likelihood of fraud, he will enter into a short position, right? And when the fraud occurs or when that firm loses, then he will be able to earn from it. But this particular, there is short sell restriction. You can't have the short sell. You can't short sell in this particular situation. That's why there is no motivation for anyone to do all these things, right? So the ultimate point is cost benefit analysis and ways to improve investors' ability to use disclosed data to predict the fraud. Okay, this is about the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission. You can clearly see that all these commissions, regulators, and all, they are not very much interested in showing information to the public. Here also, you will see the same thing is happening with the SEC, but now things are better. So SEC initially was providing the information in very encrypted format, so it was very difficult for the individual investors to check the information, that is form ADV. We saw all those points, right? So about the historical history of that particular investment manager's financial frauds, okay, that should be recorded in the form ADV. So this SEC was not providing information in proper format, and then they improved it but still kept it difficult and so on. But now finally, recently, SEC has started to provide the information in standardized format that would allow investors to access relevant information in form ADV for the due diligence. Okay, so assume yourself as an investor. So what you will do, you will check the ADV form ADV for the investment manager, and then based on that, you will try to predict or check, okay, is this an indicator of the fraud or not? And you have all the indicators. So this was a limited discussion of the Benjamin Madoff, finding Benjamin Madoff topic. So just remember the key points, specifically the table we discussed, and you are good to go, right? So thank you very much. See you in the next topic.